Hi, gang. It's Patrick.
And Adam.
Coming up on today's episode, we celebrate Disney animation legends in our feature segment On the DL. As always, we discuss the latest Disney news, and we close out the show with some quick D. All that and more on today's episode of Gays Do the D.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Adam, Monumental Hummel.
Oh, my. Patrick Nutmeg Nog Kazuki.
Nutmeg Nog, 2 delicious flavors.
Yes, that's your elf name. Did you know that? That's your Santa's elf name.
I did not know that. Is there an elf name generator somewhere that I've missed?
In my brain, yes.
Got it. Write in, folks, to Adam Hummel, and he will tell you your elf name.
Shortcut is, it is your favorite spice or seasoning and the last thing you drank.
Oh, I've not had eggnog this year, so I must not have had anything to drink since 2019, which is probably best.
That's safest, right?
Yeah, it's the safest choice.
What is the last thing you drank?
I'm having coffee right now as we speak.
Nutmeg coffee doesn't have the same ring to it.
I do actually put nutmeg in my coffee, so there you go.
I knew that about you.
How are you, sir?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I am well. I am well, Adam.
I'm glad to hear it.
You know, I've said in the past that I am going to get into meditation, and I never have. To me, meditation is the same as witchcraft, and I don't understand it. But I started this week, and I am loving it. I'm living for it.
Rafiki vibes.
Does he meditate? Oh, yeah, he does, doesn't he? That's how he sees the past.
Oh, that's how he sees the past, the present, and the future.
And the future. He has returned. Patrick has returned, everybody.
Okay, so meditation, great. Are you projecting astrally? Is that what they say? Astral projection?
Yes, with 2 S's.
I don't even know what that means, but you're just clearing your mind. Is it more like transcendental? Is transcendental meditation? Is that what it's called?
That is a word. I don't know if I'm doing it right. Who can say? I sit on my comfy chair with my legs crossed and I close my eyes and think for a while. And then that's meditation.
I don't think there's any wrong way to do it as long as you feel centered when you exit your meditation.
I do. I feel more leftist than centered, but you know.
That's exactly where we want you.
That's exactly where we need to be.
You Antifa supporting Mother Effa.
Gladly, my friend.
Well, since we're politically adjacent right now, Patrick, jumping from meditation to politics, I just want to take a moment to remind everybody in Georgia that early voting begins this Monday. That's December 14th. We need you out voting. And for those of you that aren't in the state, there are plenty of ways that you can support the candidates, but mostly you can just give them some of your money.
Throw some cash at them. They need it.
They do. And you can throw that cash by visiting warnockforgeorgia.com, electjohn.com, and you can also visit fairfight.com, which is the website of everyone's favorite Georgian, Stacey Abrams.
Indeed, the world's favorite person, Stacey Abrams.
So Tweedle Georgians, Tworgians, Tweedle Georgials, I don't know.
Yep, all of this works.
Please get out there and vote. You know we need those seats in the Senate. And everyone else, please consider donating some cash or some of your time to one of those 2 campaigns or to Fair Fight.
That's right. Vote your ass off.
It's going to catch on, Patrick.
I'm trying real hard.
You've got a couple more weeks. You should DM John Ossoff and just see if you can make that happen.
I will. He's an attractive person, I'll tell you what.
He is attractive. In fact, I'm going to go so far as to say both of those candidates can get it.
That's right. Both John and Raphael can get it.
I don't know if that appeals to the Reverend, but we're just putting that out there. Sir, you can get it.
And by it, I mean your vote, everybody.
That's right.
Moving on, Adam, we have some listener feedback from our lovely gay sister podcast across the pond, Once Upon a Scream. Last week, Ben wrote into us and let us know who he was the love child of between 3 Disney characters, and we asked him who Mikey was. And so Mikey responded. Mikey is at Mikey My Day on Instagram or at Upon a Scream on Instagram. And apparently Mikey is the love child of Cogsworth, Jafar, and Rapunzel.
Fascinating. I have a question. What's going on over in jolly old England that both of those boys responded with a threesome as their parents?
It's true. It's true. Apparently in England, it takes three. It takes three to make a thing go right.
Well, it's just so sexy when you think about Cogsworth, Jafar, and Rapunzel getting together and making Mikey. That's hot.
Yeah. That's a big clock. You know what I mean? There's a big clock in that threesome.
To be fair, I also said I was the love child of Cogsworth, so I also have a big clock.
Well, you were birthed from a big clock.
My clock is also monumental, Patrick.
We simply must move on, Adam. But thank you. Thank you, Mikey, for letting us know. And thank you, Once Upon a Scream. We love you.
Love you.
Well, since we're talking about the past, Adam, let's just stay there for a second, because last week we also talked about the Muppet Christmas Carol because it came up in our This Week in Disney History, and I happened to mention that my favorite song was cut from the movie, and the Disney gods were listening to us, right?
The Disney gods, or at least Brian Henson.
Brian Henson, avid fan of Gaze to the D, Brian Henson was listening to us and answered our prayers.
That's right. According to the BBC, When Love Is Gone, which we talked about in last week's episode, is going to be reinstated into the Muppet Christmas Carol. They found it. Apparently it had been lost for a while, and now it's back.
It's back, everybody, and you're welcome, right? That's all we can say, really. Gaze to the D is responsible for this, and you're welcome.
Can I ask a question? Did you start meditating before this was revealed or after this was revealed?
It was the day of. It was the day it was revealed.
Are you serious?
Absolutely, actually.
Were you meditating about this song?
I only do. I only ever do. It's my mantra.
So maybe it's not Gaze to the D, Patrick. Maybe it's just you.
It's just me. I sit down and meditate to the mantra, When Love Is Gone, which is really sad.
Yeah, that's a dark choice. It's a
I should maybe reconsider.
Well, I guess thank you then. We have you to thank. This is incredible. And like we said last week, it's pivotal to Scrooge's story, right? We need to see this scene to understand who he is and why he acts the way he does.
Absolutely, absolutely. So head on over to the BBC and look up this story. It is really fascinating, actually.
Super fascinating. And just as fascinating, Patrick, we've had several tweeters write into us saying, hey, I'm having issues with episodes of yours on Google Podcasts.
You know, I have issues with episodes of ours too, Adam.
Oh, really?
Maybe not the same issues, but they are issues, and I'll write in as well.
Thank you so much. I look forward to receiving your feedback. So like I said, we've had listeners reach in and say, you know what? Not all of your episodes are appearing in Google Podcasts. And we did a little research and we found out that is because another site, I'm not going to mention their name because I'm classy.
It's true. It's true.
But another site, another podcasting catcher site, another app, so to speak, Patrick.
I feel like you're mad at me right now.
I'm not mad at you, but I'm about to pop off. Another site, another app had submitted their RSS feed for Gaze Do the D.
Rudy Tuesdays.
So I reached out to Google and I said, hey, Google, guess what? We've been robbed, basically.
Yeah. I'm guessing they're listening, and you know who you are. Rude. Get out of town.
Yeah, get out of here. And you know what? I did. I kicked him to the curb, Patrick. I deleted any mention of us from their site. And I said, Google, they're gone. And Google said, we need to wait a couple of days, and then we'll get it resolved.
Amazing. I'm going to say you're coming in a little hot, and I'm here for it.
Thank you so much. I feel hot. Is that a sign of a stroke? I feel very warm right now.
Yes, I've never had a stroke, but yes, the answer is yes.
Well, we just like to apologize, even though it wasn't our fault. Other site, other app.
Ugh. That's all I have to say about it is ugh.
Exactly. Ugh. So we apologize, Tweedles, who use Google Podcasts. We will have the issue resolved shortly. In the meantime, maybe Spotify, maybe a little Stitcher, maybe a little Overcast. Who knows? Just try to find us another way. Visit gazetothed.com. Our episodes are also there, and we'll let you know once this issue is resolved.
You know, as the great Susan Egan said last week, if they're not coming for you, then you're not doing it right.
The great Susan Egan did say that, and I guess that means that we are it, Patrick. We're the ones. We're the ones that people are coming for, and we should be proud of it.
We are the ones, and we are proud of it. And you know what? In response, Adam, you know what we're going to do?
What's that?
We're going to release a new episode of Gaze to the D, Raw and Uncut.
You went there.
I went all the way there.
All the way there. From 0 to 125. That's where there is 125.
That's where there ends. That's where there stops.
Okay, a new episode of Raw and Uncut. I'm really into it. It's a festive month. We're probably going to be celebrating something. I don't know. We'll have a nice chit-chat with our patrons.
And here's how you can go there, listeners at home. If you're not already a Patreon family member, head on over to gazetothed.com. Click on that donate button, where for as little, say it with me, everybody, as $1 reoccurring a month, you too can become a member of our Patreon family.
And what do they get when they join the Patreon family, Patrick?
Well, as already mentioned, they get extra episodes of Gaze to the D called Gaze to the D, Raw and Uncut.
Raw and Uncut. I'm so mad still. I'm really mad.
Oh, wow. That was like wrestler level mad.
I wanted to scream even louder, but mic levels, Patrick.
Mic levels, and you don't want to scare Penny.
I don't want to scare Penny.
Once she wakes up, we have to stop recording.
We can only record when she's asleep. Absolutely, yes.
The monster must rest. So yes, you get extra episodes of Gaze to the D, Raw and Uncut, where Adam and I are just unfiltered. We curse, we drink, we slap people. It's a mess, and it's a delicious mess.
It's like we're sailors in the 1920s, but we're not sailors in the 1920s.
Well, I do put on my tight white pants when I record.
Is there anything hotter than a tight white pant on a guy?
There's really not. When I was in Hawaii, I saw so many sailors, and I was like, well, I guess I live here now.
Just move to Hawaii for the pants, stay for the pineapple, okay?
It's true, that pineapple bottom. Also, if you donate in one of our tiers on our Patreon page, you will receive a gift from Adam and Patrick.
There's nothing more special. And during this holiday season, can you imagine receiving a gift from us?
Can you even imagine getting a mug with Gaze to the D on it?
Can you even imagine? No one can.
I mean, lower the bar, everybody. You're going to get a mug that says Gaze to the D on it.
Yeah, it's true. But hey, you know what? That's our way of saying thank you for supporting the podcast.
Thank you so much. And you can fill that mug up with whiskey, with nutmeg eggnog.
Nutnog, yes.
With nutnog? Oh, dear. With your tears? Anything you want.
It holds so many fluids, yes.
Boy, how do we get out of this?
Well, I'll tell you what, that's your problem, buddy, because you have the next segment. Good luck.
Oh, boy, I did not read the notes carefully enough. You're right. I do the next segment. So head on over to gazetothed.com, click donate, and join our Patreon family, and you will get the gift of our voices yet again in your ear holes.
More voices in your holes, yes.
Well, on that note, Adam, we are moving on to the next segment, and our next segment is This Week in Disney History. Can you even stand it?
This has got to be a classier segment than what we've produced so far, because everything up until this point has been a bit of a mess.
A bit of a mess. It's absolute trash. Well, let's move on to our first This Week in Disney History. 17 years ago, Adam, on December 14th, 2003, after a 2-year delay, Disney's Pop Century Resort officially opened to the public, or at least half of it did. Originally designed to be two separate resorts, one dedicated to the 1900s to the 1940s, and one dedicated to the 1950s through the 1990s, only the 50s through the 90s half of the resort actually opened. Due to budget constraints and low attendance, the second half of the resort was put on hold indefinitely. So for 6 years, the partially built property sat untouched until Disney announced they would finally finish construction on the property, but instead of adding on to Pop Century, they created an entirely new themed resort dedicated to animation called Disney's Art of Animation Resort. And the Art of Animation Resort opened to the public in 2012, almost 10 years after it was supposed to open.
I have seen photos of that half of the resort, the current Art of Animation Resort, just sitting there, looking like some kind of post-apocalyptic nightmare.
Yeah, it was spooky looking for a while, and the two resorts are connected by that bridge called the Generation Gap Bridge, I believe, and there are many photos of just like a haunted resort off in the distance.
I would have loved to have seen that 1900s through the 1940s side, though.
I agree. I think that would have been really cool.
Do you think the 1900s rooms would have had 1900s amenities?
Just a bar of soap?
A bar of soap, a chamber pot.
Absolutely no running water or electricity.
The cast members wouldn't be able to acknowledge the fact that a polio vaccine had been developed.
Although those cast members, the men anyways, would have been very hot in those high pants that hug your tush and the button top caps.
Yeah, it's basically hipsters, right? They're just hipsters.
It's just hipsters. You're right. You're right. It's just newsies with beards.
Oh my God, that is the resort for you.
The Newsies Resort, everybody.
Well, while I've never stayed at either of these resorts, actually, I'm going to be staying at Pop when we go down for the 50th. I know that Art of Animation is an exceptional resort. I know a lot of people love it. I can't wait to stay there. So I'm glad it exists, but it would have been fun to have seen that other half of Pop Century.
I will be right across the Generation Gap Bridge from you, Adam. I'll be staying at Art of Animation.
Every morning, we're going to run across the bridge towards each other and get on the Skyliner.
I don't think it starts in the bridge, though. I think we have to go to one side or the other.
Oh, I thought it dropped people off in the middle of the lake.
You meet me there. You meet me there, Adam, and and I'll head on over to the parks.
It's noon, and I'm like, he said he'd be here. I don't know.
You're like Miranda waiting on the Brooklyn Bridge for Steve.
Every day of that trip. Yep.
What a weird reference. What a weird reference. We have to move on from that.
Or do we just sit right in that? It's very comfortable. Sex in the City. We love it. We know about it. New podcast. Here we go.
The podcast no one asked for. All right, moving on to our second This Week in Disney History. 20 years ago, Adam, on December 15th, 2000, Disney released its 40th animated feature, and for my money, one of the most underappreciated Disney movies, The Emperor's New Groove, starring David Spade, John Goodman, Eartha Kitt, and Patrick Warburton. The Emperor's New Groove began development in 1994. And was originally going to be a musical called Kingdom of the Sun, with music written by none other than Sting. But due to underwhelming box office returns from Pocahontas and The Hunchback of Notre Dame, the movie was downgraded from an epic musical to a light-hearted buddy comedy. The film didn't do great in theaters, as you may remember, grossing $169 million with a $100 million budget. However, it became the best-selling DVD of 2001, and ironically, the non-musical did have one song in it called My Funny Friend and Me, written and performed by Sting, which was nominated for an Academy Award. The Emperor's New Groove was spun off into a direct-to-video sequel called Kronk's New Groove, and it had a Disney Channel spin-off called The Emperor's New School. It was recognized at the time by many critics as Disney's best post-Renaissance movie and one of its best comedies. And yet, with all that acclaim, there is little to no representation in the Disney parks or stores.
Excellent point. Where's the Emperor's New Groove stuff in the parks?
I have no idea. You tell me.
I just asked you.
There needs to be, right? I mean, it is actually a visually really cool and unique Disney movie.
It certainly is. Are you telling me that even Yzma isn't represented during the Halloween party?
I've never seen an Yzma costume.
Interesting. Interesting.
Right?
Well, we'll get on it. We'll reach out to Disney and we'll make it happen.
Tweedledees out there, write letters now.
Or, you know what? It's 2020. Send an email.
I think writing letters. Get your seals out and stamp that envelope, press it, sealed, and send it off to Disney.
Also, an amenity at the other side of the Pop Century Resort.
Wax seals.
Wax seals.
I'm going to get into that. I think that's my 2021 Patrick persona. I'm going to send letters with wax seals on them.
Very threatening letters delivered by a raven. I love this for you.
That's right. And the seal will be a picture of me in the nude.
Like I said, very threatening. Yes.
It's a very short seal.
Definitely not monumental. Oh, second callback.
Hey-oh. All right. Moving on, Adam. 59 years ago, on December 14th, 1961, Disney released its first ever live-action musical starring Ray Bolger, Annette Funicello, Tommy Sands, and Ed Wynn. Do you know what that movie was, Adam?
I believe it was Showgirls. No, of course it was Babes in Toyland.
Babes in Toyland, indeed. I'll tell you what, Babes in Toyland haunts my dreams. It is a weird movie.
Very weird, very weird. It is a fever dream of a movie for sure, yes.
So Babes in Toyland was based on the 1903 operetta by Victor Herbert and adapted by songwriter George Bruns for Disney. Fun fact, Disney legend and avid toy collector Ward Kimball headed a special unit for the film to create over 100 toys for the March of the Wooden Soldiers scene.
That feels very Ward Kimball to me. He would absolutely be the guy to be like, let me take care of this for you, Disney.
That Ward, you know?
I know.
Question for you, is Babes in Toyland a Christmas movie?
That's so funny. I was going to ask you that too. It feels like a Christmas movie, but I don't think it's a Christmas movie. I think it's an unofficial Christmas movie.
Same. And I think it's only because of those wooden soldiers that it feels a little bit Christmassy.
Yeah. And they appear in Walt Disney World and perhaps other Disney parks during the holiday season. They are marching down Main Street.
Right. It's very nutcrackery.
It's very that. Yes.
Very that. So that, Adam, was this week in Disney history.
Well, you just handed me a beautiful, sparkling segue, Patrick, because we talked about Babes in Toyland possibly being a holiday movie, and now we're going to talk about the holidays.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. It is our end of the year holiday giveaway.
I love a giveaway. I love the holidays. Let's get into it.
Some of you may be thinking, didn't you just do a month of giveaways? And the answer is yes. But here's one more to close out 2020.
We're crazy. We're crazy over here.
And this holiday giveaway is the winner's choice of a Disneyland or Walt Disney World stainless steel water bottle.
Assuming they're both in stock.
Yeah, they might not be. And we have a plan for that. So get ready to hear about that.
And the plan is you get what you get, folks.
That's right. Yep. Shop Disney says, drink in the magic every day as you relive memories of visits to Disneyland or Walt Disney World with this stainless steel water bottle that's topped off with a screw top cap. The colorful retro-style screen art will brighten every outing.
Every single outing. They are actually really lovely. They're basically the design of those really cute yellow retro Disney World shirts or Disneyland shirts.
So popular. Yeah, that kind of like creamy yellow background with that multi-layered logo on it.
I love it. I love it. They look so good on people, but when I try one on, I look like I blend in with the background. I'm basically jaundiced when I wear them.
Have you talked to a doctor about that?
I think I need more iron in my diet. I don't know. Is that what helps? I don't know.
Some iron pills.
Or just a vegetable now and again.
Give it a shot, Patrick.
Try it out, won't you? Well, Adam, tell the Tweedledees at home how they can win one of these delicious water bottles.
I'd love to, but don't eat them. They are delicious, but don't eat them. You need to follow us on Instagram at GDTD Podcast. You need to like the post featuring the image of the water bottles and tag a Disney-loving friend or a water-loving friend. And who among us does not love water?
I don't, and maybe that's why I'm so pale and yellow.
You know what, Patrick? Put it in one of these water bottles and you will love water.
Got it.
For each person you tag, you will receive an entry. The more people you tag, the more entries you receive, the better your chances to win. And you can earn an additional entry by reposting our post or sharing it in your story and tagging at GDTD Podcast. Patrons, you have already been entered in your own exclusive giveaway.
Amazing. Yet another reason to join our Patreon family. If you join before this giveaway ends, you will automatically be entered.
Yeah, and that's a smaller group of people you're going to be fighting against for one of these water bottles.
Your odds are astronomically better if you join our Patreon family.
And by fighting, I literally mean fighting, because I haven't gotten to that rule yet, but you will be placed in a Hunger Games-style death match to win one of these bottles. So you need to like the post, tag friends, and also survive the death match.
We've rented an island on which you'll be placed, and you will be fighting to the death for this water bottle.
We'll be accepting entries until 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time on Friday, December 18th. The winner will be contacted via DM shortly after that and announced on our Monday, December 21st episode. Should the water bottles no longer be available on Shop Disney once the winner is chosen, we will send the winner a Disney gift card of equal value. This giveaway is in no way affiliated with or sponsored by Disney or Instagram.
And by equal value, we mean probably a little bit more than the water bottle is worth because they only come in increments.
That's right, $5 increments, I think. So you're probably going to be getting like $3 extra.
So cross your fingers that these water bottles are gone.
It happened once before, Patrick.
It did happen once before.
So head on over to our Instagram and good luck, everyone.
Good luck to you.
And now, Patrick, let's walk across the Generation Gap Bridge and into the news.
I like it, Adam. You meet me in the lake, and I will head on over to the news.
Oh, God, it's 1:30. He said he would be here. This week, in lieu of our multi-story news segment, we'll be focusing on the big story of last week, the cast announcement for RuPaul's Drag Race Season 13.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
Do you have a favorite yet, Patrick?
I mean, obviously the Minneapolis Queen.
Utica?
Mm-hmm.
Patrick is Team Utica. No, we're just kidding. Of course, we will be sharing the details from Disney Investor Day 2020, which took place on Thursday, December 10th, and delivered an amazing array of announcements from across the Walt Disney Company, including the exciting news that over the next few years, Disney Plus plans to release approximately 10 Star Wars series and 10 Marvel series, as well as 15 Disney live-action, Disney animation, and Pixar series, as well as 15 Disney live-action, Disney animation, and Pixar features. And that's in addition to the premium content set to premiere in theaters or on linear channels before coming to the streaming service. Patrick, I can't even.
I can't even. It was actually almost overwhelming to see it all come through. I know that you and I both get like bulletin alerts on our phones when news comes through, and it was like, what is happening right now? Did someone die?
And they managed to condense all of that news into a tight 8-hour presentation.
So tight. So tight. So we're going to break it up for you folks. We're going to break it up into bite-sized morsels for you. Adam's going to start with some logistics behind Disney Plus, some numbers, if you will, that'll put you at a calming sleep mode, and then he'll rush into some Star Wars news. I'll take the middle section, and Adam will end us with some Marvel news.
Big finish.
A big finish. You know what I mean?
But Patrick, I think we can both agree, all of us can agree, all of our Tweedles can also agree that the acronym for the foreseeable future seems to be DTC, which stands for Direct to Consumer. That's what they're banking on, Patrick.
Direct to Consumer. I don't think that's going to catch on, but here's to you, Disney.
Yeah, good luck.
Good luck with that.
During the presentation, the company announced that as of December 2nd, its portfolio of direct-to-consumer services has exceeded a total of 137 million global paid subscribers, including 11.5 million ESPN Plus subscribers, but why would you, 38.8 million Hulu subscribers, and a staggering, Patrick, 86.8 million Disney Plus subscribers since its launch in November 2019.
Incredible. I mean, we talked about how this was going to be the big thing for Disney, and we were on board right away, but I had no idea exactly how popular Disney Plus was going to be.
I was nervous when they started kind of doling out these large numbers that Disney Plus was going to match our number of Tweedles, but they just fell short.
Just shy of our number of Tweedles.
After greatly exceeding expectations, the Walt Disney Company shared guidance that it now expects its streaming services to hit 300 to 350 million total subscribers by fiscal 2024, driven primarily by a significant increase in content output. Disney Plus alone is targeting to release more than 100 titles per year. So before we get into creative content, let's talk about pricing and an exciting announcement for international subscribers to Disney+. Hello, all you international Tweedles out there. Beginning March 26th, 2021, Disney Plus will be priced in the U.S. at $7.99 per month or $79.99 per year, while the Disney Bundle with Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus, but why would you, will be priced at $13.99 per month. In Europe, Disney Plus will be priced at $8.99 per month or $89.99 per year. Building on the successful launch of Disney Plus Hotstar in India and Indonesia, Disney shared new details for its international general entertainment content brand, Star, which will be included as part of Disney Plus in select international markets and launch as a separate streaming service in Latin America as Star Plus. The Star brand will serve as home to thousands of hours of television and movies from Disney's creative studios, including Disney Television Studios, FX, 20th Century Studios, 20th Television, and more, enhanced by the addition of local programming from the regions where available. I think that's a huge addition to the international market, Patrick, that Star. I want Star. Where's our Star?
I mean, we get Disney Plus before everybody else does, so that's our Star.
It's not enough.
It's not enough. It should be noted, though, that that price increase is not going to affect anybody who prepaid for a few years. I know I was part of that group who did like a 4-year bundle, and it won't affect that price. You've already paid for that, but going forward, it'll affect your price.
Moving on, let's talk about what Disney Television Studios will be bringing to Disney+. Two beloved Disney properties have inspired high-profile entertainment series in development for Disney+. Beauty and the Beast, which is a working title, which we referred to in a previous episode as Little Town, will star Luke Evans and Josh Gad and will have new music composed by Disney legend Alan Menken. Ron Moore and John M. Chu will reimagine the classic Swiss Family Robinson. Additionally, the studio is developing Percy Jackson and the Olympians based on the best-selling book series by Rick Riordan from Disney Publishing Worldwide. And Disney Television Studios is currently in production on 4 live-action series set to debut on Disney Plus in 2021. As we previously reported, the Mighty Ducks, Game Changers, which picks up where the films left off, stars Emilio Estevez as Gordon Bombay, with Lauren Graham joining the flock.
They're going to talk so fast on that show.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Turner and Hooch is a buddy comedy starring Josh Peck. Josh Peck is kind of hot, Patrick. He grew up hot.
Yeah, I want to see his Josh Pecks, you know?
Yep, you sure do. Josh Peck will be joined by his partner, a sweet and slobbery mastiff. This is, of course, a remake of the film Turner and Hooch starring Tom Hanks. Big Shot, a celebration of girl power set in the world of high school basketball, stars John Stamos, Yvette Nicole Brown, love Yvette Nicole Brown, and Jessalyn Gilsig. And last but not least, the mysterious Benedict Society is also slated to debut on Disney Plus in 2021. It is based on the international best-selling book series with Tony Hale and Kristen Schaal starring. That is going to be funny. It's got to be with those two.
I imagine so. I love Tony Hale.
Also kind of hot. There's something very attractive about Tony Hale.
There is. There absolutely is. Not in Veep. There's nothing hot about him in Veep, but in his regular day-to-day life, he's an attractive man. And maybe it's because he's so funny. I don't know what it is.
Not in Veep, not in Arrested Development, not as Forky. But yes, Tony Hale, actual Tony Hale. There's just something about Tony Hale.
Forky's kind of hot. I don't know.
Okay, we just learned something about Patrick.
It's those blue lips, I think.
You just gotta kiss those blue lips.
Exactly.
All right, let's move on to Lucasfilm. Among the projects for Disney Plus are, as we know, Obi-Wan Kenobi, starring Ewan McGregor. But what we didn't know is that Hayden Christensen will be returning as Darth Vader, I guess. That's happening. He's going to be Darth Vader.
Listen, everybody. He was not good in those movies, but he is great to look at. So I'm here for it.
But this takes place 10 years after film 3, so I don't understand why it needs to be him, because won't he be full Vader?
It's possible that he took some acting classes, and who knows? It might be great.
Maybe they'll like revamp it for a new generation, and he'll be like sexy Vader, where his mid portion of his black suit will be missing, and you'll just see abs.
Yeah, he's wearing chaps and a cape. It's a short cape, though. It's like a cutoff cape.
Capelet, yep.
It's a capelet.
In addition to Obi-Wan Kenobi, Lucasfilm is also going to be debuting 2 series set in the Mandalorian era from Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. First up is Rangers of the New Republic and Ahsoka, a series featuring the fan-favorite character Ahsoka Tano and starring Rosario Dawson.
So exciting. So exciting.
Yeah, I loved her episode in The Mandalorian.
I am just at that episode. I haven't seen it yet, but I can't wait.
The musical number is incredible.
Yeah, she's a good tap dancer. I've seen her in Rent, so.
All that tap dancing in Rent.
All that tap dancing in Rent.
Additional new titles announced for Disney Plus by Lucasfilm include Andor, which we knew about, Star Wars The Bad Batch, Star Wars Visions, Lando, The Acolyte, and A Droid Story. As we previously mentioned, Lucasfilm is also revisiting Willow in a new series with Warwick Davis returning in the title role. And in December 2023, the next feature film in the Star Wars franchise, Rogue Squadron, will be released, directed by the amazing Patty Jenkins of the Wonder Woman franchise. And Patrick, I think this was kind of like the big Star Wars announcement.
Yeah, I'm on board. I have a hot take, though. I have a hot take on all this Star Wars news, Adam.
What's that?
It's a lot. It's almost too much Star Wars. Do you know what I mean?
No.
Come for me, Tweedles. I'm fully expecting you're going to clap back at me, but I feel like we're getting oversaturated with Star Wars.
No, I understand completely. I think if they're very thoughtful about it, I think it will be successful, but they really need to key in on what makes The Mandalorian so successful, which is thinking kind of smaller and not focusing so much on dialogue, if that makes sense, and really kind of laying in heavily to the visuals and action.
When Star Wars is on point, it's a slow burn of Star Wars. It's not all in your face, and this feels like it's all in your face, which, you know, I'm here for that too, I guess, right?
Well, if it's Hayden Christensen all in your face.
All in my face.
Yeah.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear.
And wrapping up the Lucasfilm announcements were the next installment of the Indiana Jones franchise, directed by James Mangold, and a Star Wars feature film, which we already reported on, by writer-director Taika Waititi. So there you have it, Patrick. Lucasfilm coming at ya.
Pew, 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 pew.
Pew, pew. Where are you taking us next, Patrick?
Where am I taking us next, Adam? Such a good question. All of that news was already insanity, right? Too much.
Too much. I spoke for far too long.
You did. You did indeed. But I'll tell you what, Adam, officially, Hocus Pocus 2 is happening. It's been confirmed by the studio with Adam Shankman set to direct. However, interestingly, no other details were given specifically around the cast, which is a little troubling considering Bette Midler all but showed us her contract during the Halloween season this past year. So stay tuned for more information on that.
They're going to be in it. Come on, they're in it.
They have to. People would burn down Disney if they didn't include them, right?
Even if they're just in it for like 10 minutes, we'll take it.
It's true. Also, previously announced, but also officially confirmed, Sister Act is getting another chapter in its movie franchise. No title or release date was announced, but we do now know officially that Disney legend Whoopi Goldberg will be returning, which is super exciting. She will also serve as producer alongside Tyler Perry. So my working title for the movie is Sister Act 3, Please God, Let It Be Good.
I think that's a title we can all get behind.
Thank you so much. 2 live-action reboots are heading to Disney+. A remake of the 1987 movie 3 Men and a Baby will star the talented and tight Zac Efron. And Cheaper by the Dozen will get yet another remake, originally produced in 1950 and then remade in 2003. This new film will star Kenya Barris from the hit TV shows Blackish and Grownish, and Gabrielle Union, best known by me as Isis from Bring It On.
She's so pretty. I don't want to make it just about her looks, but she is so pretty.
She is beautiful and super hilarious. I'm actually pretty excited about this remake. So moving on, we have a few more confirmations on projects that had previously been in the works. Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers will be coming to Disney Plus as a hybrid live-action and animated movie starring comedians John Mulaney and Andy Samberg. Seth Rogen is also slated to make a cameo. The film will be directed by Lonely Island's Akiva Schaffer. I'm actually more and more excited about this project the more I hear about it.
Yeah, when they announced that John Mulaney and Andy Samberg would be voicing Chip and Dale, I was like, oh, this just got interesting.
So we also have confirmation on the live-action Pinocchio, directed by Robert Zemeckis and starring Tom Hanks as Geppetto. Not only do we have confirmation, we also got a little teaser with what looks like might be some of the concept art from the film, and it's really pretty.
Yeah, I hope they keep the darkness in this one, you know?
I think that's where they're heading. But who can say? So Peter Pan and Wendy will also be flying into Disney Plus very soon. This live-action retelling of Peter Pan stars Jude Law as a very sexy Captain Hook and the incredibly talented Yara Shahidi as Tinkerbell, who, incidentally, Adam, was born here in Minneapolis.
Whenever we find out facts like that, it just immediately makes me want to reach out to them to get them on the podcast.
I think we can do it. She's a bit busy, but you never know until you ask.
I promise, Tweedles, we will get her on this podcast.
This is a guarantee from Adam and Patrick. So we also got a teaser from Peter Pan and Wendy, which showed us nothing at all. Oh well. So one more movie I'm super excited about is Disenchanted, the sequel to 2007's Enchanted, starring Amy Adams. And it was announced that Amy Adams will be returning as Giselle. Not announced, however, was Adam Shankman as director, but it is still on his IMDb page, so fingers are crossed.
Yeah, I saw an Instagram post from him after the announcements, and he did confirm he was directing it.
Okay, so they just gave him the Shankman.
Yep.
So a few live-action biographical projects are heading to Disney Plus as well. One is Greek Freak, about 6'11" dreamboat NBA star Giannis Antetokounmpo from the Milwaukee Bucks, who was born in Greece to Nigerian parents. We also have projects surrounding Keenan Lowe, the football coach who disarmed a student who brought a gun to a high school football game, and a project about NBA superstar Chris Paul, who was Rookie of the Year, an NBA All-Star Most Valuable Player. He won 2 Olympic gold medals and has been selected to 10 NBA All-Star teams. The project will center around Paul's story of family, legacy, and destiny that helped him get where he is today. 3 very inspiring stories. I'm very excited to see those.
I'm very excited to see those athletes.
We also got word that Disney Plus will be developing new animated takes on Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Night at the Museum, and Ice Age. Not much was revealed about Diary of a Wimpy Kid or Night at the Museum, but we do know that the new Ice Age spinoff will be titled The Ice Age Adventures of Buck Wild. The spinoff will focus on the Possum Brothers, Crash and Eddie, and of course, Buck Wild the Weasel, voiced by Simon Pegg from Shaun of the Dead. Moving on, 4 previously discussed films are still on track to hit the big screens. Jungle Cruise, Cruella, The Little Mermaid, and the untitled Lion King prequel are all on track to be released in 2021 or 2022, depending on what the world throws at us next. In that vein, it was announced that Raya and the Last Dragon will premiere simultaneously on Disney Plus Premier Access and in theaters this March 2021. The Premier Access price will be $29.99 in the United States.
That's going to be interesting. I don't know where we're going to be as far as the pandemic goes. I'm assuming it's still going to be touch and go. So I bet I'll be watching that in the comfort of my own home.
Yes, the theaters will only be filled by healthcare workers and the elderly.
But that's just as it should be, isn't it?
That is exactly as it should be. So we also learned, Adam, that's right, I'm not done talking yet, that the upcoming Disney animated feature Encanto is set to hit theaters in November 2021. Encanto centers around a magical family who live in Colombia. It's directed by Byron Howard and Jared Bush, and it's co-directed and co-written by Charisse Castro-Smith. And, who could have guessed it, Encanto will include new songs by Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Good for Disney for finally recognizing his talent.
Finally someone was brave enough to give him a platform.
Giving him a shot. We'll see if it works.
Exactly. It was also announced, Adam, that the first ever series produced by Walt Disney Animation Studios will be hitting Disney Plus in 2022 and 2023. That's right, not one, but multiple series. Moana, the series, will splash onto Disney Plus in 2023, and Baymax, Zootopia Plus, and Tiana, the series, will all arrive in 2022, along with a new story for Disney called Iwaju. Iwaju will be a partnership between Disney Plus and the Pan-African entertainment company Kugali. Iwaju will be a science fiction series set in Lagos, exploring the deep themes of class, innocence, and challenging the status quo. Very exciting.
Very, very exciting. And Patrick, Tiana.
I mean, she is finally having a significant moment.
I can't wait for that series. That was one of the announcements where I swooned.
Not only is she getting a ride retheming, but she's also getting her own series. It's about time. So not to be outdone, Pixar also announced a new series for Disney Plus. Win or Lose will be Pixar's first ever long-form animated series. Win or Lose follows a middle school softball team in the week leading up to their championship game, with each episode told from the perspective of a different character. Win or Lose will swing into Disney Plus in February of 2023. Pixar will also release not one, but 2 new feature films in 2022. First up is Turning Red, directed by Domi Shi, a storyboard artist and director for Pixar, who worked on Inside Out, The Incredibles 2, and Toy Story 4. She was the first woman ever to direct a Pixar short, Bao, which won the Academy Award for Best Animated Short Film work. Turning Red centers around May, an awkward teenager who transforms into a giant red panda when she gets too excited. Same, May. Same. Turning Red is slated to premiere on March 11th, 2022. It's so nice to be given these specific dates to dream about, isn't it, Adam?
I did find it a little off-putting that when everyone was making their presentations, they ended each date with a question mark. They were like, 2022?
It's true. This will be released. Who knows? So next up, we have Lightyear, the origin story of the hero that inspired the Buzz Lightyear toy, featuring Chris Evans as the voice of the movie's hero. So to clear up that cryptic description, the man with the best rear end on the planet, Chris Evans, said in an interview, "Just to be clear, this isn't Buzz Lightyear the toy. This is the origin story of the human Buzz Lightyear that the toy is based on," which excites me on so many levels, Adam.
Yeah, I mean, let's hope he does a lot of press for this. I'm happy that Tim Allen is not a part of this. It's a win-win.
Yeah, let's get Chris Evans on the show. He's probably anxious to be on Gaze Do the D.
You know what? The next time you're meditating, focus on that.
I will. I'm going to focus on that and that Instagram post that he accidentally released. You know what I'm talking about? I'll focus on that. Gays do the D. All right. So we also learned that Luca, the next feature-length movie after Soul, is set to hit theaters this June 2021. A quick refresher, Luca is a coming-of-age adventure between Luca and his best friend Alberto, set in Italy. And lastly, for Pixar, we got a few more details on previously announced series coming to Disney+. In the Up spin-off Doug Days, Doug will discover the dangers of suburban life in the form of puppies, fireworks, and of course, squirrels. Doug will premiere in the fall of 2021. The Cars series that Adam is very excited about will premiere in the fall of 2022, featuring Lightning McQueen and Mater on a road trip across the country. And this January 2021, we will get Pixar Popcorn, a new collection of mini shorts featuring fan favorite Pixar characters.
I forgot about the Cars series. Yep, so it goes Cars, then Tiana.
There it is. Thank you for setting your levels for us.
So much content from Walt Disney Animation and Pixar coming. I can't wait for all of it except for the Cars stuff.
Except for the Cars stuff. We're already, 87 minutes into the news now, and we have more to talk about, folks.
Just Marvel. We're left with Just Marvel Studios, which revealed details about upcoming content for both Disney Plus and theaters. The MCU's exciting future includes 3 new series for Disney Plus: Secret Invasion, starring Samuel L. Jackson, Ironheart, with Dominique Thorne as a genius inventor, and Armor Wars, starring Don Cheadle as James Rhodes, a.k.a. War Machine, who faces Tony Stark's worst fears. These, of course, are in addition to the studio's robust lineup of Disney Plus titles that includes WandaVision. Oh, Patrick, that trailer for WandaVision.
I can't even.
I think it's going to be really emotional. I think it's going to be like funny, but also very, very emotional.
I'm super, super excited about that.
Me too. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Loki, the animated series What If, which also looks great, Ms. Marvel, which also looks amazing, Hawkeye with Haley Steinfeld joining Jeremy Renner in the series, She-Hulk, starring Tatiana Maslany in the title role, alongside co-stars Mark Ruffalo and Tim Roth, Moon Knight, Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, and a series of original shorts, I Am Groot, featuring everyone's favorite baby Tree. Marvel Studios also revealed 2 feature films, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantum Mania, the 3rd feature in the Ant-Man franchise, and everybody lost their minds with the announcement of Fantastic Four, which introduces Marvel's most iconic family. Marvel Studios' upcoming feature films also include Black Widow, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, Eternals, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, Thor, Love and Thunder, Black Panther 2, Blade, Captain Marvel 2, and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Question: how many redos will Fantastic Four get?
I think we're just stuck in this loop until they get it right.
Did they announce the cast for Fantastic Four?
They did not. This was just like the very, very early announcement to get people excited. I think we're quite a ways away from the cast being announced.
Got it. Because previously we had both Chris Evans and Michael B. Jordan playing the Human Torch. So what hottie are we going to get next?
I'm sorry. They did actually announce who would be playing the Human Torch, and it's Jonah Hill.
Oh, okay. Great. Good. Hey, Adam.
Hey, Patrick.
You know, I feel we owe it to our Tweedledees at home to fully disclose how difficult that last news segment was to get through.
There was a lot going on, and I just want all of the Tweedles to know that we have things going on in our lives outside of this podcast.
And by things, I mean dogs that we really are thinking about getting rid of, you know?
Or maybe you already have, because you disappeared for a bit while we were recording, and those dogs are now silent.
Forever. No, just kidding. We love our dogs, but they are not conducive to podcasting, I'll tell you what.
They are not. All of our animals are just nightmares when it comes to recording.
And only then, really, only then. It's uncanny.
It's akin to a child wanting to be part of a live show.
That's exactly what it is. Well, Adam, we are nearing the end of this amazing year, and I feel like we are searching for inspiration, right?
Always searching for inspiration, Patrick. But yes, this year in particular has us looking real hard.
And so we thought, as we are closing out the year, let's get in one more episode of On the DL Disney Legends.
I love these segments because they give us a peek into people who have helped shape Disney as we know it, who we may not have even known about before.
Exactly. Sort of unsung inspirational heroes in Disney's history.
Just like us.
Just like us. And as was with last time on the DL, we are introducing 2 current Disney legends each, and someone that we are recommending to be a Disney legend, a GDTD legend.
That's right. We want our say when it comes to who should be a legend.
That's right. And we all know that Disney is absolutely listening to us. So look for these 2 new Disney legends in 2021.
2021?
Well played. Well, what do you say, Adam? Let's just get right to the inspiration. Enough with us just chit-chatting. Let's talk about our Disney legends.
Let's do it. And for this feature segment, we are focusing on animation legends.
I love it. So many people have touched our lives and we don't even know it because they are behind the screens, holding paintbrushes, typing in computers, and giving us the characters that we love.
And one such person, the first one we're talking about in this segment, is a notable first, Patrick. She was inducted into the Animation Legends category in 2000. We've talked about her on the podcast before, but never in such detail. I'm talking about Retta Scott.
So exciting. I can't wait to learn all about her.
Retta Scott was born in Omak, Washington on February 23rd, 1916. She graduated from Seattle's Roosevelt High School in 1934 and moved to Los Angeles to attend Chouinard Art Institute on a scholarship. We've talked about Chouinard Art Institute before.
So many times.
So many animators went to Chouinard. She spent much of her free time sketching wildlife at nearby Griffith Park Zoo. While her heart was originally set on a fine arts career, the school's director encouraged Retta to apply at Disney. She was initially uninterested due to the cartoon shorts the company was known for, but she eventually joined the company in 1938 to work in the story department on Bambi. Her stunning story sketches and character development caught the attention of Walt Disney and director Dave Hand. So when the film went into production, she was assigned to animate scenes featuring hunting dogs chasing Feline.
Amazing. I love that she was like, show me something better, and then I'll join you.
Disney, maybe.
You work, Queen. You wait until your moment.
The scenes she animated, Patrick, were so successful, male artists in the company were stunned. They assumed that only a man could create drawings with such intensity and technical skill.
Yeah, I'm still on the fence, but yeah, for sure.
So unsupportive, Patrick. Who knew a woman could draw?
Yeah, who would have ever thought?
This was a significant coup for Retta, since at the 1930s era Disney studio, women were considered only for routine tasks like ink and paint. Even after receiving a promotion to animator, she and her animations continued being underappreciated in the industry. Though the most recognized Walt Disney female artist is Mary Blair, it is Retta Scott who opened up the doors for women in the animation industry. She became the first woman to receive screen credit as an animator for Bambi. By the spring of 1941, Retta was also considered a specialist in animal sketches. After Bambi, Retta worked on Dumbo, and then she animated the weasels in the Wind in the Willows segment of The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad. In 1941, she appeared as herself in Disney's feature film, The Reluctant Dragon, starring Robert Benchley. She was laid off for a brief time in 1941, partially due to the animators' strike, despite the fact that she was only one of a few animators not involved in the strike. Retta was quickly rehired in 1942, assisting in educational videos like military training films during World War II and other smaller scale shorts, like one of my favorite shorts, Donald's Snow Fight.
A classic. A classic.
And there's a really funny story, Patrick, about when they were making Victory Through Air Power in 1943. She was known for drawing the lines on maps that connected places. You know what I'm talking about? Like the dashed lines or the arrows.
Yes, absolutely. That it looks like you're traveling through the map.
That's right. In fact, she became so known for that she joked that the film should be called Victory Through Arrow Power.
Hey-o.
Also a comedian, Retta.
See, women are funny too. Who knew?
They can draw scary things, and they're funny. She left Disney in 1946 after marrying submarine commander Benjamin Worcester, becoming Retta Scott Worcester. She continued to contribute to Disney as a freelance artist, illustrating the Big Golden Book of Cinderella and Cinderella Puppet Show, published in 1950. The cover of the Cinderella Golden Book was released by Disney Art Classics in 2000 with gold enhancements under the Art of Disney Storybooks line. Creative director of Disney Publishing Worldwide, Ken Shu, noted, quote, "Her Cinderella storybook illustrations are very stylized. I keep the Cinderella cover framed on an easel outside my office. It's a very detailed, complex composition that informs and inspires our art staff daily. It is show-stopping," end quote. And Patrick, that cover that she did, that cover that Ken Shu is talking about, I guarantee you everyone has seen it, even if they can't think of it first thing. If you Google it, you will recognize it.
For sure. Absolutely stunning.
In 1980, Retta worked on The Plague Dogs, a non-Disney animated film directed by Martin Rosen. She also helped animate television commercials produced by Lucky Zamora for such products as Cookie Crisp cereal. She continued to impress artists, especially male artists, who initially underestimated her work and was eager to share her skills. Retta Scott passed away on August 26, 1990, at her home in California. So there you have it, Patrick. Starting off our segment with Disney's first credited female animator.
I smell a movie in the works for Retta Scott.
There absolutely needs to be a movie. In fact, wasn't Disney working on a live-action ink and paint series for Disney Plus? I would be surprised if she didn't make an appearance in that.
Yeah, absolutely. The one thing I bump on, Adam, is that you didn't pronounce Cookie Crisp correctly. It's Kawookie Crisp.
That's more of a dialect thing, Patrick. I think it's parts of Minnesota pronounce it that way.
Got it. Well done, Adam. That is a heavy hitter of a start for us.
Yeah, top that. Who you got?
We're not comparing, Adam. They're all legends.
Every single last one, or at least the four we're mentioning, yes.
It's true. Well, moving on, Adam, I am going to talk about Andreas Deja, who was inducted into the Disney Legends for animation in 2015.
Talk about a heavy hitter.
Yeah, this guy... Boy, oh boy. Andreas was born in Poland in 1957, and then he moved to Germany with his family. At the age of 11, he saw The Jungle Book, which sparked his interest in animation. He wrote to Walt Disney Productions and expressed his interest in animation, and the company wrote him back saying, "Please do not send us any copies of Mickey Mouse. We can teach you that. You need to become an artist in your own right first. Watch the world around you, draw your brothers and sisters, go to the zoo, sketch the animals."
Wow, they read him.
They read him for filth. Please do not send us any copies of Mickey Mouse. I love it. So he took the letter to heart, and he said in an interview years later, "I knew I had to be good. I knew I had to be above average." After graduating secondary school, he studied graphic design at the Folkwang Hochschule in Essen, Germany. While he was a student in Germany, he wrote to Disney legend and one of the 9 old men, Eric Larson, who was running the animation training department at the time. The two corresponded for a bit, with Deja sending Larson his student and cartoon work. Larson wrote back with encouragement and specifically said, "I think you've got what it takes." Deja finished school in 1980, and in August that year, he left Germany for America, and he was quickly hired on by the Walt Disney Studios. In fact, the first film he worked on was The Black Cauldron, and fun fact, Adam, he shared a cubicle with Tim Burton.
That's amazing. Can you imagine your first film being The Black Cauldron?
I wonder if he was like, did I make the right decision? Is this where I'm supposed to be? No, but if you look at the animation of The Black Cauldron, it was absolutely beautiful. So I'm sure he was inspired by that movie, right?
Oh, yeah. The animation's fantastic. Story needs some work, but that was not his department.
Exactly. Hired on, and the first movie was the worst movie that Disney ever produced.
First is the worst. That's where that saying comes from.
Or not the worst, but at least like the least money-making movie of all time for Disney. So during his early days with Disney, Deja wanted to learn as much as he could, and he took it upon himself to spend as much time as possible with each of the remaining 9 old men who mentored him and steered him in the direction of character animation. Over the years, he would go on to animate some of the most prolific Disney characters. He animated, wait for it, Roger Rabbit, Gaston, Jafar, Scar, Queen Nerissa, King Triton, Hercules, Lilo, Mama Odie, Tigger, and he is the current resident specialist for the animation of Mickey Mouse.
What a waste of talent.
What an absolute waste. Absolutely. It is widely known in the animation studios that Deja's favorite characters to animate are the villains, which makes sense because he is one of the few openly gay Disney legends. A quote from Deja, "Villains are the most fun to animate. It's fine to have a villain who beats people up and is ruthless, but the more important thing for me is whether or not they are interesting. The villains who have full personalities are the ones you remember." In 2006, at the 34th Annie Awards, Deja was awarded the Winsor McCay Award for Outstanding Contribution to the Art of Animation. And in 2015, he released the book The 9 Old Men, Lessons, Techniques, and Inspiration from Disney's Great Animators. And that is Andreas Deja. I fully recommend Tweedles out there going on YouTube and looking up videos from him. There are a ton of interviews and how-to workshops that he's given over the years, and he is a fascinating man.
He has to be, in order to bring us such incredible characters, right? Like, it's what Susan Egan was talking about in last week's episode about how it's not just her playing the character of Meg, it's her and a certain number of animators and the directors. You know, you need these great storytellers to be able to create these characters.
Yes, it's true. He is a great storyteller and a very animated man. A lot of Disney animators have said in the past that they took inspiration from him in creating their own characters for Disney.
We definitely owe him a lot. He created so many of the characters that we love.
Created and is still creating. I mean, he's still making Mickey Mouse cartoons right now.
Amazing.
Amazing.
Well, speaking of amazing, Patrick, I've got an amazing legend to tell you about next.
Slap me with that legend.
And also a heavy hitter when it came to Disney's classic animated film, Bambi.
I think I know where you're going with this, and I'm very excited.
I'm talking about Tyrus Wong, who was inducted into the Animation Legends category in 2001. Tyrus Wong was born in China on October 25th, 1910. In 1919, Ty, as he was known, and his father boarded the ship SS China and sailed to California, leaving behind his mother and sister, whom he would never see again.
Oh boy. Talk about a movie that's going to be made.
Yeah, and there's no explanation that I could find for that. I know there's a documentary called Tyrus, which I have not seen, so perhaps that goes into greater detail about why he and his father left his mother and sister behind, so I have to look into it further. At that time, most Chinese immigration was prohibited under the Chinese Exclusion Act, so Ty and his father had to immigrate illegally under assumed identities of Chinese American sponsors. Upon arrival, Ty was separated from his father, held at an immigration station and questioned about his identity. After a month, Ty was released from the immigration station, and he and his father moved to Sacramento before finally settling in Los Angeles. Isn't it funny, Patrick, how the times can change, but they can also stay exactly the same?
Funny. Hilarious even, Adam, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely hilarious. So Ty was a mediocre student, but he loved sketching and was encouraged by his father, who had him practice calligraphy every night since they couldn't afford to give him an art education. Ty's teachers noticed his artistic ability, and he received a summer scholarship at the Otis Art Institute, and shortly thereafter a full-time scholarship at Otis. Due to his father's modest income, Ty walked for miles to attend classes and worked as a janitor at the institute. After graduating in 1935, Ty exhibited his watercolors and participated in a WPA project established by the Roosevelt administration during the Great Depression, creating 2 paintings each month for exhibition in public libraries and government buildings. In 1937, Ty met and married his wife Ruth, and together they had 3 daughters. Looking for steady employment, he joined the Walt Disney Studios to work on animated shorts, but quickly moved into feature films after submitting landscape paintings with deer as early concepts for Bambi, which was in pre-production. Much like Retta, when Walt Disney saw Ty's concept art, he was intrigued by their mysterious quality, inspired by the Song Dynasty, which led Ty to become the lead production illustrator for the film. As legendary animators Frank Thomas and Ollie Johnston point out in their book about the making of Bambi, quote, he set the color schemes, along with the appearance of the forest in painting after painting, paintings that captured the poetic feel that had eluded us for so long. Ty Wong not only inspired the other visual artists, but he created a standard that was met by musicians and special effects too, end quote. They went on to note, quote, in contrast to the paintings that showed every detail of tiny flowers, broken branches, and fallen logs, Ty had a very different approach, and certainly one that had never been seen in animated film before, end quote. Although credited as one of several background illustrators, his full contribution to the film was largely unknown for several decades. Ty left Disney before Bambi was released in 1942. That's how D23 puts it, but he was actually fired from Disney Studios as a consequence of the Disney animators' strike. So a little bit of history rewriting there on behalf of Disney.
Just a bit, just a dash.
He went on to join Warner Brothers and for more than 25 years developed storyboards and concept sketches for motion pictures, such as Rebel Without a Cause, Around the World in 80 Days, Rio Bravo, The Music Man, and The Wild Bunch, among others. In 1946, Ty was finally granted U.S. citizenship after the repeal of the Exclusion Act. He took an early retirement to pursue his own passions, including exhibiting and selling watercolors, designing Christmas cards for Hallmark and other companies, illustrating magazine covers for Reader's Digest and other publications, painting ceramics sold through Neiman Marcus, and designing, constructing, and flying kites. More than 50 years after leaving Disney, the studio approached Ty about serving as inspirational sketch artist on Mulan. He declined, however, saying his work with animated films was no longer an important part of his artistic life. In 2015, filmmaker Pamela Tom wrote and directed a film about Ty's life entitled Tyrus. Ty passed away on December 30th, 2016 at 106 years old. On February 1st, 2017, Ty was honored by Congressman Adam Schiff with a remembrance on the floor of the 115th United States Congress. And on what would have been his 108th birthday on October 25th, 2018, Ty's life and legacy were honored with perhaps the greatest recognition of all, Patrick, an animated Google Doodle.
Finally. Finally.
He lived to be 106.
That's incredible. Incredible. I don't even think I want to live to be 106 years old.
My understanding is that he was still very active, very with it up until the end. And he knew what he wanted to do. It wasn't about working for a big company or producing what they wanted. He really wanted to focus on his own passions.
Yeah, it strikes me as you were unfolding his life story. This is a great example of how much harder immigrants and people of color have had to and have to work to get where they want to be. Not that all of our other Disney legends are undeserving, but we have so many stories of people who just happened to meet Walt Disney and he just gave them a job off the street. And of course, these were mostly white men. And Tyrus Wong had to work so hard just to get that one job at Disney.
And then to be unrecognized for so many years after for his contribution, which basically made Bambi, right? Like the look of that film are those beautiful backgrounds in that movie.
Exactly. We talked a little bit about that when we covered Bambi many, many moons ago, about how extraordinary the animation and the beauty of Bambi is. And we have Tyrus Wong to thank for that.
We do. So thank you, Tyrus Wong.
Well done, Adam. Well done.
I love this praise after each legend. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. It would be nice if it was returned, but I don't think that's in the cards for me.
Well, we'll see how you do on this next one. Who's next?
We'll see. Well, I have another white man to talk about, Adam, so I can't imagine I'll get much praise for it.
Let's see what he brings to the table.
Let's see. I am going to talk about Joe Grant, who was inducted into the Disney Legend Hall of Fame in 1992. Joe Grant, which I guess is the whitest name I could think of, was born in New York City in 1908. His father was a newspaper art editor, and Joe basically grew up in the industry, watching and learning from his father and the artists contributing to the newspaper. His first job came when he moved to Los Angeles. He was hired as a staff illustrator for the Los Angeles Record, sketching weekly cartoons and caricatures of Hollywood celebrities. These drawings caught the eye of Walt Disney, who hired Grant to design caricatures for Mickey's Gala premiere in 1933, which featured caricatures of celebrities like the Keystone Cops, Laurel and Hardy, and John and Ethel Barrymore, among many others. After impressing Disney with his work on that short, he was hired on to the studio. Because of his wit and sense of humor, in addition to animation, he quickly became a top writer and gagman, which meant something very different then than it does now. A gagman was in charge of coming up with visual jokes like slipping on a banana peel.
But these days, gagman means
something very, very different. Moving on. During his time with the studio, he created the evil Queen Rebecca in Snow White. He led the development of Pinocchio. He co-wrote and helped select the music for Fantasia. He also co-wrote Dumbo. During World War II, he worked on many of the patriotic-themed shorts, including the Academy Award-winning Der Fuhrer's Face. He also worked on The Reluctant Dragon, Saludos Amigos, Make Mine Music, Alice in Wonderland, and his English Springer Spaniel was part of the inspiration for Lady in Lady and the Tramp. During this time, he also founded the Character Model Department, where characters were designed and visual stories were developed. It was often said that no model sheet was official until it bore the seal OKJG. In 1949, Grant left the studio and he ran a ceramics and greeting card business. 40 years later, he returned to Disney after being asked to consult on Beauty and the Beast. During this next phase at Disney, he also worked on visual and character development for Aladdin, The Lion King, Pocahontas, Mulan, Fantasia 2000, coming full circle, Monsters, Inc., Chicken Little, and Up. In 2004, he conceived the idea and helped storyboard an animated short for Disney called Lorenzo, based on a cat who gets into a fight with two poodles. It was released in early 2004 in front of the box office flop Raising Helen. But the short won the Annie Award for Best Animated Short Subject and was nominated for an Academy Award. Up until 2005, Joe worked 4 days a week at Disney until he passed away from a heart attack on May 6, 2005, at the age of 96. Both Chicken Little and Up are dedicated to Joe Grant.
Way to go, Joe.
Way to go, Joe. You did it.
Isn't it interesting that, as with Tyrus Wong, Disney went back to Joe after so many years and asked him to consult on a movie? And in both of those instances, it was during the Disney Renaissance. So they must have kind of been seeking out guidance from those that were part of iconic Disney films.
Yeah, there was that time in between classic Disney and the Renaissance where they were like, let's try a bunch of new stuff, and it didn't quite work out, and they knew they had to go back to their roots and rediscover what made them so popular to begin with.
Well, it's always so nice to see a white man in America really find his way.
Finally. Finally. Am I right?
And that's not to belittle Joe. His contributions are obviously great. And so we should celebrate Joe.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Incredible, though, like, as you were saying, that he contributed so much to early Disney heyday, and then he got to come back and reboot Disney, basically.
Yeah, that must have been a real kick for him. You know, there's such kind of an underappreciation for our seniors, and you think like time to retire, time to kind of fade away. But when they have such history and knowledge in them, there's real purpose to their lives yet and stories to be told. And that's just the case with Joe, it seems.
Exactly. It's very poetic that he got to work on both Fantasia and Fantasia 2000.
Well, Patrick, this is the time when we now nominate our GDTD legends.
I'm very excited. I'm so glad we added this element to it because there's so many people out there who are deserving of a Disney Legend Award and have been passed over.
And as I admitted to you when we chose animation for this segment, you know, I wasn't too familiar with animators that I could just kind of pull out of thin air and say this person deserves to be a legend. But after doing some research, Patrick, I found a very inspiring person who absolutely deserves to be a legend.
I think we both found people who might actually be inducted in the very near future, or I hope so anyways.
Well, mine's more inspiring, though.
Fair enough. That's fair.
My very inspiring nominee for GDTD Legend is Brenda Chapman. She is a woman of many firsts in animation, all while dealing with a boys' club atmosphere. Where have we heard this before?
I can't think of it.
Brenda was born in Beeson, Illinois on November 1st, 1962. She went to Lincoln College in Lincoln, Illinois, receiving her Associate of Arts degree, and then moved to California and studied animation at the California Institute of the Arts, or CalArts, as we know, where she met her husband and director Kevin Lima, who directed A Goofy Movie, Tarzan, and Enchanted. During her summer breaks, Brenda began her professional career working in syndicated television animation. After graduating with a BFA in character animation, she was a story trainee on the Disney animated film The Little Mermaid. She was one of several key story artists on Disney's Beauty and the Beast, where she worked closely with future Disney director Roger Allers to define many of the key sequences and motifs used in the film. She later served as head of story, the first woman to do so in an animated feature film for the animated classic The Lion King. Brenda also worked in story and development for other Disney animated films, such as The Rescuers Down Under, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, and Fantasia 2000. She joined DreamWorks Animation at its inception in the fall of 1994. Brenda was one of a team of 3 directors who worked on 1998's The Prince of Egypt, along with Steve Hickner and Simon Wells. She became the first woman to land a directing role in an animated feature by a major studio. 3 other women had helmed independent efforts before her. She also worked on Chicken Run and several projects in development while at DreamWorks before leaving the studio on maternity leave. Brenda moved to Pixar in 2003, where she had a brief stint on Cars before beginning development on and directing Brave. Brenda conceived Brave, which was in part inspired by her Scottish heritage and her daughter, Emma Rose, and was announced as the director of the film, making her Pixar's first female director. In October 2010, however, she was replaced by Mark Andrews following creative disagreements between her and John Lasseter. And I think we can all kind of assume what happened there.
Oh boy. Oh boy. You know?
That is, oh boy, you know. There were rumors that she subsequently left Pixar at that time, but she remained on staff until shortly after the release of Brave and started work as a consultant at Lucasfilm at the end of July 2012, where she helped solve story problems of strange magic. When asked whether she would return to Pixar, Chapman responded by saying she had no desire to go back there, feeling that, quote, the atmosphere and the leadership doesn't fit well with me. In 2013, she became the first woman to win the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature for Brave. After briefly returning to DreamWorks in 2013, Brenda left to run Chapman Lima Productions with her husband, Kevin. In 2020, her live-action directorial debut, Come Away, was included as part of the Sundance Film Festival. The film stars Angelina Jolie and David Oyelowo and is a prequel to Alice in Wonderland and Peter Pan set in the late 19th century that imagines that before Alice went to Wonderland and before Peter became Pan, they were brother and sister. So many firsts, Patrick, but for Disney, head of story, the first woman to do so in an animated feature film for Lion King, and the first woman to win the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature for Brave.
I've said it a million times before, and I'll keep saying it. It is crazy to me that so recently in our history, these firsts are happening.
Yeah, sucks. I mean, that belittles it, me saying that, but it's true. It should not. I mean, these should have happened a long time ago.
Yes, absolutely. But thank goodness they are happening. So congratulations to you, Brenda. I know that means nothing coming from me, but that is a huge step forward.
You know, what's interesting is I reached out to her when I was researching this, and that's all she ever wanted was you to congratulate her.
I'm sure all she ever wanted was the approval of a white man. I'm sure.
That's right.
Oh, dear.
Who are you nominating as a GDTD legend?
Well, Adam, I will keep it in the Pixar family. I am nominating Stephen Clay Hunter. And here's what's sometimes fun about researching up-and-coming people, although I would hardly call Stephen Clay Hunter up-and-coming, but there's not a lot of information out there about Mr. Hunter. So here's what I know from my investigative research and, I'll say it, some slight stalking. He was born at some point, Adam, in Chatham, Ontario, Canada. He attended school at John McGregory Secondary in Ontario. Growing up, he knew he was gay at a fairly young age, but he didn't come out fully until he was 27. In his younger years, he was drawn to sci-fi movies and TV shows, specifically The Twilight Zone, because they featured diverse characters who didn't have to explain who they were, they just existed. At some point, he moved to Oakland, California. He may or may not have gone to college. It's not available on record. But in 1997, he got a job with Pixar as an animator. He was an animator for A Bug's Life, Toy Story 2, Finding Nemo, The Good Dinosaur, and Toy Story 4. He was a supervising animator for The Incredibles, Wall-E, and Brave. And he was a character developer for Monsters, Inc. and The Incredibles 2. But here is why I am submitting him for Disney Legend status. He wrote and directed Out, the Disney Pixar Spark short about a gay man coming out to his parents, which, incidentally, is the first animated release from Disney to feature a gay man as the lead character. It's also Disney's first animated same-sex kiss, and on top of all that, it features an interracial relationship, which is, as everyone knows, a rarity in animation. But it is slowly becoming more and more prevalent, thank goodness. So the story of Out is taken from Hunter's past and his longing for stories featuring people who looked like him and who had experiences like him. He recognized a need for queer youth to see themselves represented on screen as main characters. During the development of Out, he knew he wanted it to be accessible for adults and children of all ages, which is why the aesthetic resembles artwork from children's books. There's a great short documentary about the making of Out, where Hunter describes storyboarding Out and realizing that this was the first time he had ever drawn two men hugging each other. So, for this long-awaited, long overdue achievement, I am submitting Stephen Clay Hunter as a GDTD Disney legend.
Patrick, the far-right Christians just passed out.
1 million moms have just stopped listening to us.
The evangelicals are in a tizzy, yes. What an excellent choice. And we should mention, he's featured on Inside Pixar, so you can learn a ton more about him by watching that. He's a fascinating guy.
He is. He's absolutely incredible. He's a great speaker as well and a wonderful storyteller. And as I said before, stories like this are long overdue.
They are. It's so incredible that we get to live in this moment, although, you know, a lot of times at like 1,000-foot glance, things may seem really complicated and upsetting right now. We are living in a time where these stories are finally being told. We get to experience these firsts, and it's so great.
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully there are maybe some youngsters listening to us who are taking inspiration from some of these legends, or legends to be, hopefully, that change won't happen unless you make it happen, right?
That's right. You gotta be the change you want to see.
Are you the one who came up with that quote?
I just coined it.
Good for you. Good for you.
More praise from you. Thank you so much.
No, this was a fun category. I'm glad that you selected it because we rarely get to understand the stories behind the people who are creating these characters that we love so deeply. And it makes sense that the people behind them have such rich histories as well.
Absolutely. And we will continue to explore animators as we continue to delve into the Disney Legends list, and we'll continue to explore other categories of Disney Legends as well. And we want to hear from you, Tweedledees. What categories do you want us to explore? And specifically, what Disney Legends would you like us to cover? You can reach out to us on social media. That's Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at GDTD Podcast.
Or you can always send us a voice memo or email to info@gazetothed.com. And not only should you submit legends to us, submit people who should be legends who are not currently Disney legends.
That's right. We've got a few already, so thank you for sending those in. Keep sending them in. Who do you think needs to be recognized by Disney and, more importantly, by Gaze to the D?
Much more importantly.
So much more importantly.
We've had Susan Egan on the podcast, everybody. It's a big deal. We're a big deal.
Patrick, we're just two gay dudes who happen to get lucky and get Susan Egan on the podcast.
That old story.
Hey, Patrick.
Hey, Adam.
In podcasting time, it's been but a few seconds, but IRL, you have attended a wedding and I had some lunch.
2020, am I right? I did some podcasting and then went to a Zoom wedding, and here we are again.
There is nothing more 2020 than what you just uttered.
It's all true. It's all true. Incidentally, congratulations to my cousin John and his new beautiful, amazing wife, Milan.
John and Milan.
Mm-hmm. She's very French.
Oh, oui.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear. You've offended everyone from France just now.
Was she wearing a beret at the wedding?
Yep, it was a beret-only wedding.
Was she carrying a bouquet of berets?
She was. She was.
Well, congratulations, John and Milan. I hope you have a long and happy life together, and I hope you continue to listen to Gaze Do the D.
They've never listened a day in their life, and they're not going to start now.
Interesting. You have such a supportive family, Patrick.
I do. I really do.
No, that's great. That's great. I'm glad they found love.
And that's Quick D, everybody.
That is not Quick D. We haven't even begun to D yet. But yes, this is the time for Quick D. This week we are doing Quick D Classic. That means Quick D Question, in which Patrick and I ask each other a question that we have not been privy to prior to recording, and we answer it off the cuff.
Off those cuffs, though.
Yes, yes, yes. Patrick, I'm going to have you ask me your question first.
Great. I assume that means you don't have a question prepared, so here we go.
How dare you? You know what? You may be right, but that doesn't mean you can accuse me of not having a question.
J'accuse!
And we're back to French.
Well, Adam, I do have a question for you. It's a question that you don't need to be funny with, and let's be frank, you probably won't be. So here we go. As we discovered in the news, 8,000 new shows and movies are coming our way from Disney, specifically on Disney+. A lot of them are remakes of old TV shows or old movies that they're giving a reboot to, and there's room for just one more, maybe two. Who can say? Adam, what would you like to see Disney reboot or remake for Disney+?
Wow. Fascinating. Live action Black Cauldron series.
That's a great idea.
I know it's a great idea. That's why I just said it, Patrick.
Okay. I tried to give you a compliment and you took it offensively.
I think we're there now, Patrick. I think we figured out how to successfully tell those types of stories. We saw it done with The Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones. It could be very that.
Very, very that. We are getting a Willow TV series, I believe. Isn't that correct? So this is kind of along those lines.
Yeah, that's true. In fact, I just rewatched Willow a couple of weeks ago.
I did too. Weird.
I gotta say, I still enjoy that movie. I know a lot of people don't, but I think it's great.
I think it holds up. It holds up.
Let's see, what else? We got more reboots coming. You know what I think they should reboot is Cheaper by the Dozen.
Again.
Yeah, I want a reboot of the movie that they haven't yet rebooted.
We're going to remake a movie we're currently making.
Figure it out, Disney. Yeah.
I like it. Still starring Gabrielle Union, though.
Absolutely. She is essential to the project, no matter what level of reboot we are in.
Right. She's going to play both parents and all 12 kids.
It's a very Nutty Professor, yes, situation.
I'm here for it. I'm into it.
Okay, let's see. One more reboot. We need a reboot of The Mouseketeers Go to Walt Disney World.
Listen, I don't want to call you a genius. End of sentence. But that is a great idea. No, that is a great idea.
You know how like they rebooted Saved by the Bell now? Well, I want Lisa Whelchel from Facts of Life to be in the reboot as the adult now when the new Musketeers go to Walt Disney World.
I'm into it. I'll do you one better. I would love them to bring back the Mickey Mouse Club.
Let's get real for a second, Patrick. Is that doable in the very cynical world we live in now?
I think it's doable and needed. We need the most diverse Mickey Mouse Club we've ever seen. We need Mickey Mouse drag queens and kings. We need it all.
Could there be a layer of self-awareness to it?
No.
Okay.
No, I think that has to be part of it, right? It has to be sort of Muppets Now kind of a situation.
There's got to be a wink to the camera at all times, yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, I rebooted 3 things you added to the mix. Was not necessary that you do that, but I'm glad you chimed in.
Mm-hmm. I like to insert myself when I'm not wanted.
You know, Patrick, I want you to feel comfortable just sharing your ideas.
I never feel comfortable around you, Adam, but thank you.
Okay, I've got a question for you now, sir.
Finally.
Also relates to our news segment, our extensive news segment, where we covered all of the major announcements from Disney Investor Day 2020. Patrick, I don't know if you caught it when I was spitting out my half an hour update, but Guardians of the Galaxy is getting a holiday special in a couple of years. They're going to film it while they're filming Guardians of the Galaxy 3. What other Disney properties deserve a holiday special?
Ooh, such a good question.
I know.
Well, I think we need a very Willow Christmas, don't you?
If they celebrate Christmas, I don't know what religion the Willows celebrate. Or
that's his first name, first of all. Wow. That was problematic, Adam. That was problematic.
It wasn't. Little known fact, all of the people in Willow are called Willows.
Every character is called Willow.
Yes. We have confirmation on that. Thank you, Lucasfilm. Confirmed.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we need a holiday, a very Willow holiday, for sure, in which he searches for a very different baby. You know?
There's always going to be a baby involved, folks.
If you think about it, Willow is not very different than the Christmas Story. They're trying to protect the baby at all costs due to higher ups wanting to be the most powerful people in the land.
That's right. Do you remember when that evil witch was after the baby Jesus?
Yeah, when Mad Mortigan came after Jesus, you know, that old tale in the Bible.
Yeah. Okay, Willow, a very Willow holiday special.
That's right.
Holiday in the Willows. I don't know.
Oh, dear. And then I think we need a sequel, Adam. We need a holiday sequel called The Nightmare After Christmas.
What is that? Just digestion?
It's 2020, actually. It's the year 2020 is The Nightmare After Christmas 2019.
Wait a minute. Oh, okay. I got it. Okay, so you're saying 2020 is the nightmare.
Correct.
Well, if there's one thing we're going to want coming out of this pandemic, it is movies, television series about the pandemic.
Yeah. Yep. The one thing that we need after all this is a reminder of what we're currently going through. Happy holidays, everybody. Life is terrible. It's a terrible life. That's the title. That will do it for this episode of Gays Do the D. Thanks for listening. To become a patron of the podcast, visit our website at gaysdothed.com/donate. For a donation of any amount, you can receive exclusive Gays Do the D content and help us continue to bring you the very best Disney news and discussion. Continue the conversation after this episode on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at GDTD Podcast. Submit your questions or show ideas to info@gaysdothed.com. Have a great week, everybody. See ya real soon.